All righty. I know I'm here just a little early. I can't really see how many people are in here because I'm actually using StreamYard for the first time. And for those of my OGs, you guys are used to seeing me on Zoom. Oh, wait, there it is. There's the what is this? Is it below? The Songwriters. What? Piano by you for Songwriters. Oh, that's something different. All right. Okay, so I can see that there's people in the chat or there's people watching. So if you guys can do me a favor. Oh, perfect. Good to see you, Miss Araya. Good to see you. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes or just a couple of minutes to come in and, you know, basically populate. So there are a couple of reasons why I'm doing this on YouTube Live. And you guys might see the setup is a little bit different. I'm using a streaming app called StreamYard, which I kind of like so far. It allows me to switch from one camera to another, and it also allows me to share my screen. But there are a couple of reasons why I'm going to, let me see if I can pop the comments on the screen, because this is actually kind of a cool, oh, this is so cool. Again, this is my first time using the StreamYard app, so I'm kind of still experimenting with where all the buttons and stuff are. So I should be able to, hey, Mr. Lynn, how are you? Ah, good to see you. Good to see you. So I'm still figuring out where all the buttons are. But there are a couple of reasons why I'm going to be or I'm doing YouTube Live. For one, I think it's just a lot easier for a lot of people to use YouTube because everyone has a YouTube account, and sometimes it's difficult to get on the Zoom. The other reason is I'm actually in the process. Hey, Miss Deborah, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm glad you guys are chiming in. If you guys haven't had a chance to, please hit the like button. Because one of the things I'm doing on YouTube is I'm focusing on growing my channel. And one of the things that YouTube rewards is engagement. So the fact that you guys are commenting, the fact that you guys are liking the channel, it actually boosts the algorithm to show this live to more people once the live is over. And yet that's the other reason too, is once this live is done, it's able to be posted right on YouTube as opposed to me having to go through a whole bunch of uploading the replays and putting it on a page. It's on YouTube for you guys to access whenever it is convenient for you. Hey, Mr. Lyons, good to see you. Good to see you. There's a lot of familiar faces. I got some folks who are new here. So for those of you guys who are new, if this is your first time seeing me ever on live, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. For those of you guys who are my OGs, welcome back. And I'm so glad that you guys are tuning in. And I promise you guys, what I'm going to show you guys is going to be very, very helpful, especially if you guys are songwriters and producers. One of the reasons why it's important for me to do this live is because the way that people are taught piano is not really helpful for those who are music creators. There's usually like this weird gap between what you learn and how to translate that into what you're creating as musicians. Good, Mr. Anthony's here. And so I also want to welcome my Piano 360 members, those who are a part of my premium program, which I'll discuss a little bit later. So I see you guys are in the chat box as well. I can't see LD, LND, LLVU. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So again, I'm just popping the comments in here because again, I like these little chat messages I can pop up on the screen. It helps with the engagement. So I'm going to do, it's 8:03. I'm going to go ahead and get things started. And for those who missed the beginning, this will be on the replay on YouTube Live. And so if I find this really easy to do on YouTube versus doing it on Zoom, I may just continue doing my free classes on YouTube going forward because it's just more practical that way, hopefully. So again, this is just an experiment. So here's the thing. There's a couple of things we're going to be doing during the live class. We're going to be learning, and there's going to be opportunities for you guys to refer other people. Yes, 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 yes. You are an OG. Exactly. Oh, you're like one of the OGs, like when I had my first program, my first coaching program, and then went over to my 360 membership. So yeah, you've been with me for a very, very long time. So a couple of things I'm going to have you guys do if you guys find this lesson valuable. Number one, obviously, hit the like button if you have not done so already. The fact that you guys are staying until the end is going to also help increase my watch hours. I'm not going to keep you guys any longer than about 45 minutes to an hour because I know you guys have things to do. So I'm not going to have you guys here for 5 hours like some streamers do. It's going to be a real simple real straight to the point. And if you guys, and I'm going to ask this question now, if you guys find the content helpful, would you guys be able to, if I make it easy for you guys to refer other people to my site, if I just provide you guys with simple instructions on how to do that before the live class ends? Hit the yes, or just type in yes if you guys would be able to do that. And if so, I will provide you guys with simple instructions on how to do that while we're doing the live. So that way we can kind of just get it over with, and then we can go on with our lives. And then I also have referral incentives too. So if you refer up to 2 people, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys a link that you guys can have them sign up through like their email and phone number to this same YouTube live if they watch it on replay. If you refer up to 2 people, if you get up to 2 people to sign up, then you guys get a feature on my Instagram. If you guys refer up to 10 people, this is not 10, this is 10. Then you guys, if you're a songwriter producer, if you want me to promote you on my Instagram, absolutely awesome, perfect. Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you guys refer up to 10 people, I will actually interview you live on my Instagram, which is currently growing in followers, or YouTube live, whichever one is easiest. But you guys have great incentives. So, okay, perfect. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started. I have like a little list here of things I want to make sure I cover. Oh yeah, I know some of you guys, I'm just going to put this up here because I know some of you guys are like, hey, Ayana, your content's really good. How can I support you? I'm just putting this up for those who want to send me like a little Cash App or something, just to support the channel and to, send me some coffee. I'm making sure that's the right one. ThemusicALW. Yep. So that's my Cash App if you guys want to send, a little bit of something. But if you guys are interested in working with me further, just keep in mind that there's an opportunity at the end of the lesson to work with me on a more active level. So if you want to save for that or preserve it for that, you have those options. All right. So enough of me talking. We are 6 minutes in and there's 12 people in here, which is almost the majority of you guys who signed up. So the fact that you guys showed up is amazing. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I'm going to go over. So there's 3 things I'm going to cover. For those who are complete beginners, I am going to go over the names of the keys first, and then we're going to go into some basics on chords and how to build those chords and apply them to music that you either are playing or creating on your own. And I'm also going to introduce you guys to what are called lead sheets, which is one of the ways in which you can write music on paper. So let's say if you're working with a band or if you're working with other people and they understand how, if they know how to read through lead sheets, I'm gonna give you guys some super basics on how to write lead sheets. That way you're able to communicate your music or what you want other people that you're working with in a band or in, music in general to be able to be on the same page when it comes to playing chords in lockstep. All right, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and switch. I really hope this thing works. If you guys can see my camera or my keyboard, put a 1 in the chat box. I'm going to make sure that you guys can see my keyboard before I start talking and start naming keys. And you guys are like, what is she even? I can't even see a keyboard. I have no idea what she's talking about. I can't see nothing but her face. And just keep in mind that there is a 10-second or so delay. So if you guys do put comments in the chat box, it may take a little bit of time for me to see them, but I do see them in my little StreamYard app here. Okay, you guys are saying 1, 1, 1. All right, perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over here. So I know some of you guys already know how to name the keys on the keyboard, but this is just to get those who are completely new to the piano to get caught up, and we will get into the fun stuff on how to play chords, and we will do a little bit of playing by ear, and we'll do some quizzes just to make sure that you guys are catching on to what I'm talking about. So obviously this is a piano, for those who don't know, and so the piano is broken up into obviously the white keys and the black keys. Now, for those who may not be familiar with how the piano works, you might look at this and go, wow, these are a whole bunch of different keys. How am I supposed to memorize the names of all the keys? The reality is the keys are really just the same 12 keys that repeat themselves over and over and over. So it's really a pattern. So if you think about it, the piano goes higher in tone going to the right from left to right. right? And let me know if you guys can hear the keyboard too, because yeah, just put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear the keyboard. I don't have my sustain pedal on me. It's on my other keyboard, so I may not be able to play pretty music for you guys, but I want to make sure that you guys can see and hear the keyboard so you guys can hear what I'm going to be demonstrating for you guys. So okay, perfect. So the way the piano works is the keys are named by alphabetical letters. I will go over the white keys and the black keys today. Well, a little bit of the black. I'm not going to get too deep into them because I don't want to overwhelm you guys. So think about the first 7 letters of the alphabet, A to G. Now, in the regular world, the alphabet starts with A, but for some reason in the music world, especially when it comes to piano, the standard letter that we first learn is C. So think about C being the first letter of the musical alphabet, and then at the very end is A and B, and then the cycle continues. So the way this works is C is always going to be in the same spot on the piano. If you notice, the black keys are in groups of 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, so on and so forth. C is always going to be the white key to the left of the 2 black keys. So if you find any 2 black keys by themselves, the white key to the left is always going to be C. Now, as a reference, this particular C that has this particular tone is called middle C, because if you notice on the piano, this particular C is the closest to the center of your keyboard. Whether you have a 61 key, 76 key, 88 key, middle C is always going to be the one that's closest to the center of whatever size keyboard or piano that you have. So this is middle C here. Now, if you go up to the next 2 black keys, this is also C, but this one is higher in tone. And if you go to these 2 black keys here, this is also C, but this is a C that is lower in tone. So those are all C's, but they're just in different, they have different tonalities. Some C's are higher than others, some C's are lower than others. Now, if you're able to find C on the piano, you're able to find all of the other keys as well. So we have C, and just like the alphabet, the next key over to the right, the next white key is D. After D, just like the alphabet, the next white key is E. After E, the next white key is F. After F, the next white key is G. So we have C, D, E, F, G, right? And then after G, what happens is the alphabet kind of does this reset. So after G, the next white key over is going to be A. And then after A, the next white key is going to be B. And what this essentially does is it connects us to the next C. And all it does is it just repeats the same exact letters over and over again. So we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, so on and so forth. This is one of the reasons why I'm not really a fan of putting stickers on keyboards, because when you have C as a reference, you really don't need them. And the other thing too is if you're playing on the real piano, you're not going to be able to use stickers or labels as a reference point. It actually kind of cripples you from being able to learn the piano the way you should. You want to be able to get to a point where you can call out the keys without using the labels. One of the easiest ways to do that is to start out studying the names of the keys using C as a reference. For example, if you were to do this maybe 5 or so times a day, where if you just close your eyes, pick a random key, and if you have to figure out what that key is, all you have to do is start with the closest C, and then just count your way up. So C, D, E, F. So if you're just learning how to play the piano, this is one of the easiest ways to get familiar with naming the keys without using the labels. And if you do this exercise with different keys maybe 5 or 6 times a day for maybe a week or 2 weeks, you'll find that after a while, you won't even need to use C as a reference. You'll automatically pick up this is E, this is A, this is D, so on and so forth. So it becomes muscle memory. All right. Hey, Mr. Razel, good to see you. Good to see you. He's another OG of mine, so I'm glad to see you here. Now, I'm going to quiz you guys, and feel free to put this in the comment section. So using C as a reference, I'm going to play a key, and you just count your way up to that key, and you tell me in the comment section what that key is. What is this key? So again, start with C, and then just count your way up to wherever this key is. Now I'm going to see if you guys are going to get it in the comment section, because this lets me know that if you guys are catching on. All right, so we have D, we have G, we have G, we got G. So the answer, guys, is G. Yeah, I saw where you were coming from, Mr. Lyons, with D, because you thought that this was C, but this is actually C over here, because remember, C is next to the 2 black keys, not the 3 black keys. The white key that's next to the 3 black keys is F. So if you want to use F as an additional reference point, then you can use F as the white key that's to the left of the 3 black keys, and C as the one that is to the left of the 2 black keys. So you'll be able to have 2 reference points for naming keys versus just having one, if that's the easiest way for you guys to learn. So the fact that you guys got the answers, that should demonstrate to you just how easy it is to learn the piano. That it's really that, I want to say it's that simple, but it's that straightforward when it comes to learning. If you think about it this way, any song that you learn in Western music, all the millions of songs that have ever been produced in Western history, just really comes down to just those 12 keys. And if you can learn how to find G, you can learn how to find the other keys as well. It's really just a matter of familiarizing yourself with it and being able to shorten the time it takes for you to call out each of those keys. Once you've gotten over that barrier, everything else is going to be pretty much easier in terms of learning chords, scales, things of that nature. So let me know if that was helpful for those of you guys who are new. Let me know if that made at least the concept of learning piano a little bit easier and a little bit less intimidating. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box. That's one of the things that I'm probably going to not be able to do on YouTube Live, is to have mics. But I guess it might be easier because if this thing blows up, which I'm pretty sure it will, it would be kind of, difficult to manage a whole bunch of people on the mic. So it would be better to put your questions in the chat box, because I can see your chats from here. All right, perfect. So for those of you guys who said that you guys will be able to refer people, here's the instructions. And I'm going to put it in the chat box for you guys. So here's a couple of things. There's 2 simple instructions. I want you guys, when you taught the lesson on finding the chords out of the scales, really opened my eyes. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Which I will be going over today, not necessarily from a scale standpoint, but I will introduce you guys to 2 chords that you guys can play, let me see, 2 times 12, 24 different ways in the next lesson, in literally the next 5 minutes or so. But I want to just take a couple of minutes, if you guys can do me a favor. This is where I want you guys to do your referral. So instruction number 1 is, I'm going to put a blurb in the chat box. I want you guys to text this out to people who you think might be interested in accessing this class. And so I'm going to put it in the chat box here. Oops, I think it's put it in 2 different text messages or text boxes. So it just says, hey, my piano teacher's having, she's doing a free live class. If you're interested, just text me back your email address. Now I'm going to show you what you're going to do with that person's email address. So if you just text it out before the live class is over, and you guys can just bring in those referrals before the live class is done, that would be the most efficient. So once they text back their, because that's all they're going to, that's pretty much their way of saying, yes, I'm interested, here's my email. Just have them text back your email. Have them text back their email address. And then once they do that, you're going to put their information in this form here. So I have the form. I put the form in the chat box so you guys can go ahead and use it. So when they text back their information, when they text back their email address, you're going to go into that form and you're going to put their name, their phone number, because if you're texting, you have their phone number, and their email address, and then put your name at the bottom where it says what is the name of the person referring, because it helps me keep track of who sent who. So you'll just basically do that for each person that sends their email address. So if you get 3 people, you would just fill out the form 3 times. As a matter of fact, I should be able to pop this up so I can show you guys how this works. Because it's really, really simple. So again, just send out those text messages to however many folks you want to send it out to. And then whoever signs up to, hold on. I think, oops, did I give you guys the wrong link? Wait, guys, hold on. Did I send y'all the wrong link? Nope, I sent you guys the right link. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how this is going to look. So let's say you send out the text message saying, "Hey, if you're interested in, accessing this class, just text back your email address." Once they do that, let me see if I can put my screen share here so you guys can see. Oops, that's not the one. Screen share. Where is? Oh, you know what? Okay, I had to turn off the screen share first, and then pop this in to my little window. Oh wait, you know what? It might be best to do the entire screen. Share. All right, so you guys can see my, okay, so you guys should be able to see. Okay, so this is the form. So when they send back their email address, all I'm gonna do is just put their name here. So referral. Put the email that they texted you back in, their email address, and their phone number, and then your name goes here. So my name, and then just press submit referral, and they'll get the information that they need to access this class. So that's all I need you guys to do. And I probably did not even show it. Did you guys even see any of that? No, you guys didn't. You guys saw nothing. All right. So, all right, let me try this again. So so when they send their information, when they send their email back to you, you're going to put their name here. So you're going to open the form, put their name here. The second field is going to be their email address. And then the third is going to be their phone number, because I'm assuming if you're texting them, that means you have their phone number. And then your own name. So the person who's doing the referring, that's where you're going to put your name here. Because again, this will help me keep track of how many referrals that you sent. If I can pull it up, okay, this person sent this many referrals. So if you send 3 people, you would just fill out this form 3 times and just put your name here each time you put it in. And then it'll allow me to keep track of, okay, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, because again, guys, this is my first time really doing this whole StreamYard thing. So sometimes I might miss a couple of clicks here and there. So this is my first time working this app here. But I'm glad that I was able to fix that. All right, perfect. So hopefully that's helpful. So while you guys are texting out your text messages, I will be checking back in to see how you guys are doing with that. So while you guys are doing that, I'm going to move on to lesson number 2, where we get to the fun stuff. Now you guys understand naming the keys. We're going to go over some exercises with some very basic chords you can use for playing and creating music. Now, as I said, I'm going to, oh, and by the way, just for convenience, once you guys press the submit button for the referrals, it's going to send you right back to this YouTube live in case you guys end up, losing your way and all that good stuff. All right, so I'm going to switch this back. All right, so we're back to the keyboard here. And let me know if you guys can see the keyboard again, because I'm not sure. I want to make sure that it's no longer on the what is this thing? Screen share. So put a 1 in the chat if you guys can see the keyboard again, because I want to make sure that you guys can see the keyboard, and I'm not doing a whole lesson, and you guys are again like, what is she doing? All right, perfect. So here's the thing: there are tons of different chords that you can use when you're playing music. Even if you're reading sheet music, it may not say this is the type of chord that you're dealing with, but it's really good to understand the theory behind the chords that you're working with, because they end up kind of being a part of your music creation or music playing toolbox. So I'm going to start you guys off with 2 different chords, and the good news is the way I'm going to show you these chords is you can play each of these chords 12 different ways, because you can play them in each of the 12 different keys. So I will demonstrate how that works. The first chord I'm going to show you is called a major triad. So for those who are just starting out, there are technical differences, because there's two different types of chords I'm going to introduce you guys to: major and minor. So there's technical differences between the two. But to simplify this class, especially from an ear standpoint, major sounds happy, minor sounds sad. So major sounds happy, right? So how do we build a major chord and how do we build a minor chord? So when it comes to a major triad, and a major triad, by the way, is a 3-note chord. So major referring to how it sounds, which is happy, and triad referring to the number of notes that build the chord. So a triad will always be simply 3 keys. So I'm going to give you one example of how to build a major triad. The one that I'm going to show you in the beginning is what's called a C major triad, where C is the root, and then the other 2 notes are just E and G. And ignore the way I'm playing with my fingers. This is not really the best way you're supposed to play a triad. This isn't really about playing. This is really just getting you guys to understand what we're playing. So C, E, and G is how you build a C major triad. But how do we even know what notes belong to that particular chord? So C, if we're talking about a C major triad, that means C is the root. And the way to build a triad is this. If you start with the root, right, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4 keys, or we call them half steps. So from C to this black key here is a distance of 1 half step, or, so yeah, that's the way you can think about it. So from here to here is 1 half step. From here to here is another half step. From here to here is another half step. And from here to here is another half step. So from the 0 point, which is the root, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, which gets you to the next note of the triad, which in this case is E. From here, from the second note of the triad, you're going to count an additional 3 half steps. So it goes 1, 2, 3. So to build a major triad, you're going to count 4 half steps and 3 half steps. So if we start with C, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from here, 1, 2, 3. Now, you can actually play the same exact major triad from any other key or any other starting point or any other root. So let's take, for example, let's say if I wanted to build an E major triad. That means that E is now the root, right? So our starting point is here. And then from E, we count 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this note happens to land on the black key, which in this case is A flat. So A flat is the black key in between the 3 black keys here, right? And then from here, we're going to count 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3. And now we have an E major triad. Sounds happy. So the point is, you can start with any of the keys on the piano, and if you build a major triad from that key, all you have to do is start with that key and just use the 4-3 formula. And no matter what, it will always give you a major triad, no matter where you start. So if you wanted to experiment with playing the major triad in different keys, all you have to do is pick a starting key. Let's say you can start with E flat, which is this black key here, which is on the right of the 2 black keys. If I wanted to build an E flat major triad, all I have to do is start with E flat, which is the root, and count 4 and 3. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, which lands me on G. And then from G, I count 1, 2, 3. And now I have an E flat major triad, which also sounds happy. Let me know if that makes sense for you guys. Give me a 1. I don't know where I got the 1 from. Actually, I got the 1 from another a streamer that I follow on YouTube. Put the 1 in the chat if that makes sense so far. So I want to make sure that I don't lose you guys before I introduce you to the nemesis of the major triad, which is the minor triad. But again, so that's taking one formula. Okay, perfect. You guys are putting 1 in the chat. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So that's one formula that you can use to build a basic triad. Now, all of the other chords that exist in the history of music or in the realm of music theory, each of them have their own calculations when it comes to half steps, which are really good reference points for those who are just starting out. So just like the major triad has a very specific way of calculating itself, 4 half steps and 3 half steps, every other chord that you will ever learn also has its own individual calculations that you can use to transpose or play that same chord in like 11 other keys. Your hand placement is a little confusing. Yeah, ignore the hand placement because the way I was, putting the fingers in there is not the way you're supposed to actually play it. This is just me showing you where the actual notes fall if you were to build a major triad. Now, for those who want to know how to play a triad, once you figure out the notes, all you have to do, and this is for both major and minor triads, guys, just use your thumb, middle, and pinky. So if you figure out that if you're playing C, E, and G, the C major triad, all you have to do is use your thumb for C. This is for your right hand, by the way. For your thumb, you're going to use it for the bottom note. You're going to use your middle finger for the middle note, and you're going to use your pinky for the top note. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, it may feel a little weird, but again, if you just practice playing each of those triads in different keys, it'll get easier to play, just like it'll get easier to name the keys as you practice them over time. So if I was to go back to that E major triad, I would use my thumb for E, my middle finger would go to that black key, and my pinky would go to B. So the same 1, 3, 5 fingers could be played for the first note, the second note, and the third note of the triad, no matter where I play it on the keys or on the piano. So let me know if that makes sense. I know that Mr. Rozelle had that question. I wanted to kind of just get that out the way. In case you guys are wondering how to actually play triads, that's how you would do it with the right hand. Because the left hand is the symmetrical version of the right hand, you would just use your pinky for the bottom note, middle finger for the middle note, and the thumb for the top note. That's for the left hand. But today is not about the left hand. By the way, for those who are in my 360 membership, we do have a private class, exclusive class coming up on November 13th at 7 p.m. And that whole class is going to be dedicated to just the left hand. I'm going to give you guys some exercises on some scales, some melody building, some chord building to help strengthen your left hand. That's for those of you guys who are in my 360 membership. Again, more on how to join later if that sounds interesting to you and if you're not in the membership. All right, so good. So now that we've gotten the major triad out the way, we're going to now focus on the minor triad. So again, minor from an ear training reference sounds sad. Just in time for Halloween. So how is a minor triad? So you still have triad because it's still 3 keys, right? And whatever the root is, whatever the name of that triad is still the root. So let's go back to C for our reference. We already built the C major triad, right? But what does a C minor triad look like? C is still the root, just like the major triad, and it's still 3 keys, right? 3 keys total, just like the major triad. But there's one little shift that gives that triad a different sound to make it sound gloomier and sad. Check this out. So we start with C. Now, the easiest way to think about a minor triad is that 4-3 calculation I gave you. For the major triad, it's just the reverse. For a minor triad, you would count 3 half steps first and then 4 half steps. So here's how this will look when it comes to C, the C triad. You start with C, like you would with the major triad, except you're going to count only 3 half steps first. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3. It already sounds different than this, right? And again, ignore this little way I'm doing the fingerings here. I'm just kind of showing you how to build it first. And just like the major triad, the fingering is the same. It's the same one, the thumb, middle, and, pinky finger. Just the same exact fingers you use if you were to actually play it. Anyways, so you got 1, 2, 3. And then from this note here, you're going to count 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you have C, and instead of E, you're going to have this black key here, which is E flat, which is the right of the 2 black keys, and you have G. So if we were to take that same calculation, just like you can build a major triad using the 4-3 formula in any of the other keys, you can also build a minor triad with the 3-4 formula for any of the keys. And before this question comes up, because I know it's going to come up, does the color of the keys matter? Does it mean like, oh, if all three notes are white keys, is it automatically major? And if it's like a black key in the middle, is it minor? The answer is no, and I'm going to show you how this works. Let's say if we were building an A minor triad, that means we will start with A, right? Yes, exactly. So once you start to realize how these chords show up in songs, it helps you understand what it is that you're composing or what it is that you're writing a lot better. Now you have a blueprint and some kind of navigation system for the type of sound that you're trying to create if you are making music. So yes, that is very, very true. Now, if you start with A, and if we want to build a minor triad from A, you would count 3 first. 1, 2, 3, which brings us, to C. And then from here, we're going to count 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have A, C, E, which is an A minor triad. Or if you play it the correct way, thumb, middle, pinky. So it sounds very sad and gloomy. And if you notice that in this case, all the keys are white. So you can have a major triad that has all white keys, but you can also have a minor triad that has all white keys. Just like you can have a major triad with, say, all black keys, just like you can have a minor triad with all black keys. So it really depends on that particular calculation system, and it's where the notes fall once you apply that system. But if you're a beginner, that 4-3 for the major and 3-4 for the minor is a really easy way to get yourself acquainted with the chords for, let's say, those simple triads, but being able to play them in different keys in different ways. And you'll be able to use these right away when it comes to songs. So again, we went over 2 chords, and each of those chords can be played in 12 different keys. So the major triad can be used or can be played in each of the 12 keys using the 4-3 formula. And the minor triad can also be played in each of the 12 keys using the 3-4 formula. Let me know if that makes sense. I'm going to put my face back to the camera here. Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense in terms of how the major triad and the minor triad works. So while you guys are responding in the chat box, and again, if you have questions, feel free to put those in the chat box too. And if you have not pressed the like button, please do so, because it will help boost this video to bring other people to the channel. Because YouTube, again, likes engagement. So if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. That would be really helpful. All right, good. You guys say 1 in the chat. Awesome. So there are, in terms of major and minor, right, there are much more technical differences between the two, but that's covered in more detail in the 360 membership. This was really just a reference because for a lot of people, it's easier to think of major equals happy, minor equals sad. But there's, again, more technical breakdowns that will help you kind of differentiate, let's say, major and minor triads or also major and minor seventh chords, which are used. They're like the richer chords that are like 4-note chords that are used in jazz and gospel, which is also covered in the 360 membership. Also, the difference between major and minor scales, because all of those things are building blocks for you to play music, to understand what you're playing, and to also understand what you're writing in songs and also what you're producing. It becomes kind of like a toolbox. So again, all that's covered in the membership. So you guys are saying one in the chat. So LND, LOVU says 4-3 equals major, 3-4 equals minor. That is the easiest way to start playing those 3-note chords, those triads. Now there are other types of triads. There's like augmented and diminished, and that's for like a whole nother lesson for a whole nother day. I want you guys to get something that you guys can apply right away to writing music and to playing music, and just doing major and minor is like the easiest way to do that. So there was something else I wanted to talk about before I get into the next part of this. How are you guys doing with the referrals? Let me know if you guys are already sending out the text messages and the people are responding. Obviously, you can't control how fast people respond, but when they do, make sure that you put their information in that referral form and put your name at the bottom so I can see who has been happily referring people to my videos, and they can share in on this wonderful content that I have worked so hard to put together for you guys today. There was something else I wanted to say. So again, if you guys haven't hit the like button, make sure you guys hit the like button. And let me see, you're working on the perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so now that we understand how the very, very basics of chords work, there's a way in which these chords are translated to, let's say if you are either writing music for other people, if you're working with a band, or if you're working with other musicians, or even if you are learning music from somebody else and you are trying to figure out how to break down what it is that they're showing you. Now, in some music books, this is where I'm going to get into this concept called lead sheets. Now, when it comes to writing music or just music on paper, there's different ways in which music is written. There's the traditional sheet music where you see the musical notations, which is also covered in the membership. But there's also another way where non-traditional musicians or piano players or just artists learn music. If they don't really want to go through the trouble of reading the sheet music, there's another alternative called lead sheets. And you might have seen lead sheets. You may not have known that that's what they're called. Is if you open up a piano book, I don't have it on me, but it's across the room. But if you open a piano book, right, or even if you learn music online, if you open the book and you see the sheet music, and you might even notice on top of those measures or on top of those bars, you might see like these letters and these symbols. You might see like A and then like a lowercase m, or like, G and then DIM, or like A flat MIN, right? Those are lead sheets, and those are basically telling you what chords are happening in that particular measure. And what those lead sheets do is it gives you different options in how you can approach the music. So you can either read or play the sheet music exactly as it's written, or you can use the lead sheet as a reference to go, oh, this is the chord that's happening in this particular part of the song. But you don't have to play it exactly how the sheet music says it. You can give it your own version or play that same chord your own way. So it gives you more variety in terms of how you want to approach a song. And also when you're doing lead sheets, which I'm going to actually switch back over here, I can show you what these lead sheets are. Where is my camera here? All right. This also gives your band members, whoever else you're working with, options. So if you tell them, okay, play this particular chord in this part of the song, and if you give them lead sheets, it gives them options on how they can approach it, but at least they'll play the chords that you're giving them. Especially if they don't know how to read sheet music, lead sheets is another option for them to be able to play. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up my handy dandy iPad. Now I'm going to give you some examples of how the chords that I just showed you, the major and minor, how they show up in lead sheets. That way you guys can use these. Let me turn my little ring light off. Let me know if you guys can see what I'm writing here. Lead sheets always give the key. No. So the key of the song is different. Now you would have to figure that out. There's, depending on if you're looking at sheet music, it will tell you by way of a key signature at the beginning of the song, you know, what key the song is in, which is also covered in the 360 membership. So, all right, so perfect. You guys can see what I'm doing here. Now, once you figure out the key of the song, then you'll be able to understand where the chords fall in relation to the key. That's a little bit more of an advanced segment, which again, I'm going to keep saying this, is also covered in the 360 membership. Now, what are lead sheets? So I'm going to give you some examples of how this works when it comes to triads, and it's going to be a real simple concept. If you see a letter, and it's just the letter, right? Or you might see the letter, and then you might see something like the letter, and then M-A-J. What these mean are the root and the type of chord it is. So if you see, for example, a C by itself, there's no other symbols, there's no other numbers, it's just the letter by itself, or it's accompanied by C, M-A-J. That means it is a C major triad. Very, very simple, right? So for example, another example would be if the letter was different, let's say if it was A, right? If it was just the A by itself, or if it's the letter A and then M-A-J, that means you are dealing with an A major triad. And then you would basically use, if you're new to chords, if you wanted to play it, you would use, at least to get in the door, the 4-3 formula to build this triad, which would ultimately give you A, C sharp, and E, which is, again, for another lesson. So this is what the lead sheets would look like if you are dealing with major triads. So you'll either see this variation or you'll see this variation, but they essentially both mean the same exact thing. Now, the other one I'm going to show you is the minor triad. So how does minor triads show up in lead sheets? You will either see the letter, which is, oops, that is not the right one I was looking for. As a matter of fact, I might make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So if you see the letter, right, and a lowercase m by itself. So for music theory, a capital M is referring to major, a lowercase m is referring to minor, right? So either you'll see the lowercase m with the letter, or it'll say the letter, the root, and M-I-N. Both of these mean the same thing. It's whatever the root is, minor triad. And these will always be triads. If you don't see any other numbers like 7s or 9s, if it's just the letter by itself and then like the symbol, it's going to automatically be a triad if there's nothing else there, right? So if you have the root accompanied by a lowercase m or the root accompanied by M-I-N, it's a minor triad. That means at that point you're going to play a, this thing just, let me see if I can get this thing to lighten up a little bit. All right, there we go. That means at that point at that point of the music, you're going to play a C minor triad. So another example, let's say if it was G, right? If you see a G and the lowercase m, or if you see the G and then lowercase m-I-n, that means you are to play a G minor triad. And in that case, you would use the 3-4 method. You would start with G and then use the 3 half steps and then the 4 half steps to build that G minor triad. So this is the very basics of how lead sheets work. When it comes to the more complicated chords, it kind of gets a little bit more complicated than that, but that's just kind of get you in the door. Put in the one that's in the chat if any of that makes sense. I'm going to do a real quick, like couple-minute intermission before I go into the final segment of today's class. I did say I was going to have you guys only for an hour. I'm not going to keep you guys for too long. But I will give you guys a couple minutes to ask whatever questions you may have, because I can see what you guys are putting in the chat box, which is one of the reasons why I like StreamYard. I like StreamYard a lot. It keeps everything. I'm actually not on YouTube, I'm using StreamYard, but you guys can see me on YouTube. And so you guys have been awesome so far. All right, 111, perfect. So hopefully this is a way to demonstrate for those of you guys who are very new to me, how simple it is to learn piano, or at the very least, the way my teaching style is in terms of how I present the lessons to you. My job is to take everything about piano with chords and lead sheets and chord progressions and to make it super simple for you guys to go, ah, I see. And even more important, my goal is to help you guys build your mental toolbox of chords when it comes to creating music. So now if you're like, if I hear what I didn't know was called a major triad in my head, I just didn't know the name of it, but now that you know the name of it, now you can put a name to what it is that you hear in your head. If you're making music, if I'm playing an A major with the right hand, what is the left hand playing? Very good question. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. So if you were the type of person who's like, I hear these chords in my head and I don't know how to relay them on the piano, if you hear major chords, now you know how to put them on the keyboard. And now you know if you're trying to figure out a major triad in a particular key, you know how to find that key and how to build that major triad in that particular key. And likewise with the minor triad. So if you're playing A major with the right hand, what is the left hand playing? That depends on what you want the left hand to play. So sometimes you can play major triads with just the right hand by itself. The left hand doesn't necessarily have to play anything. If you want the left hand to play something, you can just play the root in the lower octave. So if I was to play, for example, an A major triad, which in this case is, let me straighten this out for y'all. Bang, bang. Let's say if I was to play an A major triad, which in this case is A, C sharp, and E. I'm so new, but you're building my confidence. Oh, I'm so happy for that. So what I could do with the left hand is I could just play whatever the root is of the triad that I'm playing. So if I'm playing an A major triad, then A is the root. If my right hand's playing it up here, I could just play an A an octave lower with my left hand and give it a fuller sound. Right? So that's one option I can do with the left hand, but there's so many different things that I could do with the left hand to give my sound a lot more complexities or give it a fuller kind of effect. So, and that's the real trick to piano, guys, is to the outside world, it sounds complex, but once you understand the theory of what you're doing, it's actually very simple. You're really just putting layers on simple concepts to get the fuller sound. So once you know what those concepts are, then understanding how to approach piano becomes a lot easier, which again, I'm going to be putting in, okay, so I'm not even going to BS you guys. I got a sales pitch coming. Some of you guys are already in this program. Like Mr. Anthony here, he's already in the program, so he has all the benefits of learning everything that I was showing you guys in like fuller detail. So for those of you guys who are like, okay, what's this 360 membership that you keep talking about? What is it? Tell me about it. How do I get in? So here's how it works. Now, let me see if I can share my screen with you guys. How do I do this? Hold on. My first time with StreamYard. Give me a moment, guys. All right, so I have it up here, but now I have to pop it in the screen. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Put the one in the chat if you guys can see a big round slide that says introducing the, well, it's not new anymore. The Piano 360 membership is actually about a year old. And interestingly enough, most of the people who joined have been staying in the program for a long time. So I'm glad that they can find value in. All right, so you guys are putting one in the chat. Mr. Lyons, you're already in the program. So for those of you guys who are in the program, just put your honest review in the chat box for those who are new, if it's even helpful for you guys. And just let me know if it's really helpful, if you guys are really enjoying the program. But for those who are new to the 360 membership, the reason why I started this membership was because I wanted to give an online equivalent to private lessons, but also with flexibility, because a lot of people who join my memberships are older adults and they have busy schedules, but they want the same kind of progress that they would have gotten with a private teacher, but without the expensive $200 a month, $300 a month price tag, without the rigid schedule, or without the pressure of a teacher having to show up every single week, having to worry about, oh, if I miss a lesson, Will I lose out on my money? This is built to give you guys the same level of progress. So the longer you're in the membership, the more videos you go through, the more gradually advanced you get. So getting that same effect without having to worry, with more flexibility and also with more affordability. And the cool thing that makes this membership unique, now, even if you're not a songwriter or producer, you can still find a lot of value in this program. But this program does have a lot of cool tools in here to help people create music with the theory that they learned in the program. So there's literally homework in there that says, now that you've learned this chord, now your homework is to create a song out of this chord and then post it in your homework or post it in the group. So there's a lot of encouraging you guys to create music and exercising your theory and applying it to music creation, which is what makes this 360 membership so cool. So what this is an all-in-one piano learning with an interactive lessons and instructor support with affordable, flexible access. And the membership covers a few things. It covers the bare basics. It covers chords. So not just the 3-note chords, but 4-note chords that are used in different genres like R&B, gospel, jazz, pop music. A lot of those genres use the same chords, but they just approach them differently. So you'll be learning these chords. You'll be playing them in different ways, creating different sounds, playing different sounds. You'll also learn how to read sheet music. You guys will be learning more about lead sheets. You also will be learning how to play by ear, which is something that you guys don't see in most programs. Either you'll get one or the other. So you'll either learn how to play sheet music, but then you had to go to somebody else on how to play by ear, which can make things more expensive. Everything is in the program, so you don't have to go to the left or to the right, which is why it's called the 360 membership. You also get to learn your first song in the first 30 days, and you get to play up to both hands together, up to speed within the first 2 months. And the reason why that's important is because a lot of people come to me and they're like, Ayana, I have a real big problem with my left hand. The cool thing about this program, I need to update this little screenshot here. But the left hand gets worked on from the jump. So that way you don't feel like you're going through the program, but your left hand is not able to catch up. Everything that you do in the program, the left and right hand are going to get an equal amount of care and amount of skill building, which will help you build your coordination and technique skills as you go through the program. So yeah, this is old. It says each week you'll get a pre-recorded lesson, but I changed it to where it could be self-paced. So once you enroll, you get access to all the pre-recorded lessons. So you get to go through it on your own. Because when I started this program, I started out with each week, but then a lot of my students were like, can you just unlock all the videos? That way we can just go through them at your own pace. So now it is set up where once you enroll, all the lessons that are available, which right now is over like 50 or so lessons with more to come, they'll all be populated so you can just go through them at your own timeline or your own pace. So you'll get those lessons released into your account instantly. And each lesson is going to have homework. So the idea is to go through the lessons, and the lessons themselves are no longer than like 10, 15 minutes long. They're designed that way on purpose because I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed with sitting for an hour to do one lesson. You just go over one concept. You spend, the next few days to a week just working on that one concept, and you submit your homework once you practice that one thing. The idea, if you like to, I would encourage you guys to, but it's optional, is you basically do like a short video of what you're working on, and you post it in our private community where we will be hosting our live classes for just the 360 members. And the whole idea of you submitting that homework is the instructors like myself get to see what you're working on, and we get to comment. We watch the video, we give you guys feedback. As a matter of fact, Mr. Lyons is who's actually in the chat box right now. He's one of my instructors or one of my folks who helps with the homework review. So between myself and him and some others, we will actually see your homework. We'll give you feedback to make sure that you get that one-on-one instructor support as you're going through the live classes. Not the live, I'm sorry, the pre-recorded stuff. But there is a live aspect to it. So once a month, so you have the pre-recorded lessons, you get the community where you get to submit homework, you get to share your new work, you get to collaborate with other people, you get to ask questions about whatever that you're working on. All that's in the group. And once a month, we do a live, it may be on Zoom or it might just be within the group. But either way, we do a live class. Something like this, but it's more dialed into a particular topic. Where, as a matter of fact, the next one is November 13th at 7 p.m. So you guys, for those of you guys who are in the program, you guys should get an email about that. But again, that class is going to be for an hour, and we will focus just on the left hand because the left hand needs more attention than the right hand. So I cover a new topic each month. The last one that we did was I went over how to play melodies and chords by ear. So each month we cover a new topic, and whether a beginner, intermediate, you'll still be able to find value. So here are the benefits of interactive learning in the membership. Without the expensive price point and without the rigidity of locking yourself into a contract, right? So you get the flexibility of time, so you get to practice your lectures on any device, and you get to submit your video homework in a day and time that's best for you. So there's no rigid schedule in terms of, oh, you need to have this done by a certain day or a certain week or whatever. You also get flexibility of access. So this is a membership program, and the idea is to try to stay in the program and actually consume the content, but I understand that life happens. If you need to, let's say, cancel the membership, which you can do at any point, month 1, month 2, month 3, whatever it is, for any interval of time, and then you come back and re-enroll, you get to start where you left off. So you won't lose your progress when it comes to the content itself. And you get real-time instructor feedback. As I mentioned, we review your video homework that you submit, and we give you guys feedback, which gives you that ongoing instructor support in between the live group lessons. And obviously, when we do the live lessons, you guys get to do, you know, the live Q&A. You get to go on camera if you want to, ask real-time questions, and all of that. And here's the other cool thing about the membership, which is where songwriters and producers can really benefit. You get to share your work in the private group. So let's say if you're working on a new project, you're working on a new song, you want people to hear it, you have the liberty of sharing what you're working on in the group, and you get to collaborate with other people who are also professionals. You guys don't know this, but I do have a couple of celebrities in the membership. I'm not going to mention no names. And I also have people, high profile producers who worked with celebrities, like people who have worked with Raheem Devon are in the membership. So you get to actually get direct access to people who are in the industry, people who worked with Justin Timberlake are in the group. Be very surprised who's in my membership. So I guess you could say I'm a celebrity teacher. I don't know. But there's also another segment that I'm currently working on. It's going to be a marketing how-to segment for artists. So if you are trying to find ways to promote yourself, you need a resource for articles, templates, and more on marketing. There's going to be a segment in the membership in the community where I will be sharing resources on how to build your social following, how to get more gigs, how to sell out shows if you're doing events. There's going to be tons of cool resources in there. So now that I'm done talking, you're like, okay, what is in this, or what is the program? How much is it? First of all, how do I join? So here is the special I have for you guys, for those of you guys who are participating in my live class. For those of you guys who are catching the live replay, oh, that's the one thing I forgot to mention. For those of you guys who are watching the live replay, I will put a description, or I'll put a link in the description box where you can access my free piano in 3 steps video, where you guys can, sign up for free. Now we'll do this special sometime in the future. So for those of you guys who want to enroll, I do have a special for the live class. For those of you guys who enroll before I end this live class, which will be in the next like 10 or so minutes because it is late, you get to join for 2 options. You can either do the monthly or the annual. If you do the monthly, it's $99 a month, but you get to enroll today for $49 for the first month. The idea is for you guys to enroll for a low risk, because at the very least, you have a month to just go through the content, see if you like it. At the very least, if you don't like it, you can just cancel it, and the most that you lose is $49. If you like it, then you can just continue for $99 a month after that. If you are a yearly person who's like, I'd rather just get the year out the way, save a couple $100, it's $997 for the year. And if you want to enroll in the annual today, it's just $497 for the first year, which means you will not be billed anything again until October 30th of 2026. And that will be the $997. So if you did the monthly, you might be paying like maybe $1,200, $1,100, something like that for the whole, each month for the year if you were to sum it up. But if you want to save a couple $100, you can do the annual, knock off a couple $100, and just get the whole year taken care of. So what I'm going to do, for those who are not in my program, I'm going to put the link in the chat box. The first link I'm going to put in is going to be the $49 first month link. That's the first one I'm going to put in the chat box. Where'd you guys go? Okay. So $49 first month link. I just put that in the chat box for you guys. Let me know, put the one in the chat if you guys can see that. So I want to make sure that you guys can see my links here. So the other one, okay, do the 497 and switch to monthly. You know what, Mr. Roselle, you can do that. So what you can do is you can do the 497 for the first year, and just make sure, because you have my phone number, just make sure that you hit me up before the next bill hits, which is next year. That way it doesn't bill you the $997. If you want to switch to monthly, we can do that at that time. But the $497 secures you for the next 12 months. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that link in the chat box right now. So if you want to do the $497 for the first year, that link is in the chat box as well. And so again, just to make sure you guys are clear, the $49 is for the first month. And then after that, it would just be the $99 per month. You can cancel it at any time. Absolutely. You're very, very welcome. Excuse me. And then again, there's no contract that says you have to stay for X number of months. It's like Netflix. Cancel anytime, come back. It's built that way on purpose. So the $49 is for the first month, and then it's $99 after that per month until you cancel. And then the $497 covers the entire first year, which again means that the $497 covers the first 12 months. You will not be billed again until today in 2026, next year. So again, Mr. Roselle, if you are enrolling for the first year, just make sure that you hit me up maybe like a couple of weeks before October 30th of next year. That way it doesn't bill you the $997. If you want to switch to monthly, I can just pause that that automatic payment, and then we just switch it to monthly, and we can just take care of it from there. So just put a reminder in there, because I'm going to forget. But I will remember that conversation, because again, Mr. Roselle is one of my OGs. He's been with me for quite a few years. We've had quite a few lessons together. So I will remember this conversation that you, or this particular request that you put in. Because one thing about me, for those who are new, I do my best to try to be as personable as possible when it comes to the folks who take my courses. I know that there's a bunch of you guys here, but especially for those who are in my 360 membership, I try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to get access to me in terms of asking questions, me remembering you guys, me remembering how far you guys are in the program, what your guys' personal needs are when it comes to learning piano. And I know it just makes it more meaningful, and it helped you guys with your progress too. So I try to make that as easy as possible for you guys to access me if you guys are in the membership, because you guys are paying $99 a month. You guys should be able to have more direct access to me. And again, if you guys enroll tonight, that gives you guys, thank you. Yes, see, he knows. He absolutely knows. And so again, for those of you guys who enroll today, you guys will get a notification or a text message, an email to access the private group. And then, oh yeah, there's an app. So for the community, and even for your courses, for those of you guys who have my courses, you guys should have an app where you can access your courses. Great class. Absolutely. You're very welcome, Mr. Chase, another OG of mine. For those of you guys who have my courses and also who join the membership and want to access the group, there's an app that you guys either should have access to already if you guys have already bought a course from me, or if you guys have are going to be enrolling for the first time. Thanks for the class, very informative. Absolutely. And so you'll get the information on how to download the app, where you can access both the course or your courses / membership and the communities that you're a part of, including the private community for the 360 members. So that app will notify you of when I post a live class that's coming up. You get a notification saying, hey, make sure you RSVP for this 360 membership class coming up. So you get all of that in one app, but you can still access it through your browser, through your laptop, your mobile device. So there's plenty of ways to access your membership, your current courses if you have them, and the community that you would be a part of. So let me go ahead and do this real quick. Where's my slides here? All right, so, and let me know if you guys have signed up already. Just put in the chat box that you've signed up. That way I know that you guys get everything that you need to get started in the program. I know there's not a lot of you guys in here. This was more of like an experimental live, because again, I'm so used to doing it on Zoom, but I want to do it on YouTube live because I want to be able to, yes, it is, because I just switched over from Teachable to Kajabi, because Kajabi is just a lot better, and there's other reasons why I switched from Teachable. But yeah, but it's still, for a lot of people, for a lot of students, the new website is actually a lot easier to use than the old one. I will send out more referrals tonight and tomorrow. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So the new platform is actually easier to use, I find, for a lot of students than the old platform, which is a plus. So let me go back to my little slides here. So once you enroll, you'll receive a confirmation instructions how to access your membership. So you should receive a text message. Oh yeah, Mr. Lyons, you're already signed up. This is, you know, yeah, this is not new for you. So yeah, for those of you guys who signed up, you guys should get a notification via email and text message to access your membership. If you already have purchased a course, if you've already reactivated, you know, if you were around during the reactivation period where I had you guys switch over from the old platform to the new one, you should already have an account on my site. So if you use the same email to go to checkout that you've already used for a previous course, it'll prompt you to log in. That way you'll be able to log in, use your password, and be able to access your membership, your community, and all the other courses you purchased within the same exact account. Thank you. I really appreciate that honest review. So again, for those of you guys who have signed up, let me know. Just put in the chat box that you've signed. Well, Mr. Lyons, you were already in the program, but I really appreciate you letting me know. For those of you guys who are new, let me know that you signed up and that you've gotten your confirmation information, because that's one of the things I'm really big on, is making sure that you guys have all the instructions you need to be able to get started. So I want to make sure that you guys are good to go. But in the meantime, while you guys are putting your comments in the chat box here, I'm going to go ahead and remove this here. So I want to spend another 5 or so minutes. I know there's a few of you guys left in here to put your questions in the chat box. If you have any questions with regards to what I've covered in terms of the lessons. So just a real quick review. We've gone over how to name the white keys on the keyboard. We went over a couple of black keys. The black keys are a little bit more complex. Miss Saraya says, I'm signed up. Congratulations. And Miss Araya, make sure that you let me know. You have my number that you can just text me at, my business line that I use for my members. Make sure that you got your confirmation emails and everything that you need to sign up, because I know that you have some courses from me in the past, so it should automatically load in that same account for you guys, for you to access very, very easily. Miss Araya is another OG of mine. So congratulations. Welcome to the membership. So going back to what I was talking about. So we talked about naming the keys on the keyboard for those of you guys who are new. I also went over 2 basic chords, the major triad and the minor triad. I showed you guys how to play or how to build those chords, and also how to transpose. For those of you guys who don't know what transpose means, you're just changing from one key to another. That's all it really means, which is one of the things that I also teach in the program, because a lot of musicians who've also been playing for a while, one of their biggest hurdles also is playing in other keys. A lot of them have their keys that they're familiar with, but they don't know how to play in other keys because they never learned how to translate those chords that they know how to play in one key into other keys. That's another thing I cover in the membership, because that's a huge crippling point that can really hinder your musicianship, is being stuck in like those same 1 or 2 keys. You really need to be able to expand out in other keys. And just using that simple system that I showed you guys in terms of just doing those simple calculations can really help you get your foot in the door when it comes to familiarizing yourself with those same chords in other keys. So just from watching this video, you're already ahead of the curve from musicians who've been playing for years, who don't even know how to do that. So a little gem there. And then the final thing I covered is lead sheets, which is just another way for people to read sheet music. Is just like another alternative to reading sheet music. But the cool thing about lead sheets is that there's no strict way to play that chord. You can just say, okay, play this chord, but you can approach this chord however you want. So it gives you more freedom when it comes to creating the kind of sound that you want. That's the cool thing about lead sheets. But how do I put this? Playing those chords in different ways is also covered in the 360 memberships. There's a lot of stuff that's being covered in the 360 membership. If you are signed up, you are in good shape. And yeah, so for those of you guys, I'm gonna give you guys another 15 seconds to ask your questions. If you guys don't, I have a rule in my classes where if I'm gonna give you guys like maybe 15 seconds. If you guys don't post a question in the chat box, I'm assuming you guys are good to go. I'm just gonna just move on. Or in this case, I'm gonna end the class because it is 9:14. Or just put a 1 in the chat if you're good to go. So that lets me know if you guys are actually indeed good to go. I'm going to come back to that later. So again, put a 1 in the chat if this was very helpful, and if you guys learned a lot, and at the very least, if this was a breakthrough for you when it comes to removing that intimidation when it comes to learning piano, just put a 1 in the chat if this was very helpful. I will be doing, okay, yes, Mr. Chase is 1. Awesome, awesome. So this has been very helpful for me in terms of doing YouTube Live. I may just do YouTube Lives going forward as opposed to doing the Zooms. Zooms are cool, but for me, from a business standpoint, the data coming from you guys coming onto my YouTube channel and actually staying until the end. Thank you, Mr. Razel. Let me know, Mr. Razel, if you signed up, if you're good to go, because I want to make sure that you're good before I end this YouTube Live. So just, shoot me a text or a chat box, let me know that you're signed up. That way I know that you are good to go. And so, again, the reason why I'm doing the YouTube Live is strictly for algorithm purposes. YouTube brings more reach to channels who get more watch hours. So if I have 15 of you, absolutely. So if I have 15 of you who are watching for, let's say, an hour, right? That's 15 hours that can be logged into YouTube to let YouTube know, hey, there's a lot of people who are watching Ayana's content, and this is how many hours she's gotten. So the more watch hours I build up on my YouTube channel, the more YouTube is going to go, oh, people are watching. Let's push her content to new folks. But if I have it on Zoom, that's data that's lost. That's watch hours that never go on YouTube. And then I'm just sitting here like, that's a bunch of watch hours that don't get logged in. And that's just a missed opportunity. So that's the reason why I'm going to be doing YouTube Live. And the other thing, too, is easier for you guys to reference back to this, because once this goes up on YouTube, it's up there forever. Now, the special will not be up there forever. For those of you guys who are watching the replay, again, I'm going to put a link in the chat box for you to sign up for my free 3 steps video, which will add you to my email list, because I will be doing another one of these within the next maybe couple of weeks or so. So if you sign up for that, which I'll put in the description box, you guys will get a notification for when I do another one of these YouTube Lives. So awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and end this live here because it is 9:17. And if you guys do have any questions past this Zoom, or not Zoom, YouTube Live, I'm so used to Zoom. If you have my email address, which is info@themusicalweb.com, the music web with 2 B's, you can send an email there. If you have my number that you get my text messages from, just shoot a text back and just ask me that question there. So thank you guys for watching. This has been awesome. And I look forward to doing another one of these, which I will likely cover another topic because I want to kind of keep things interesting. So I'm not quite sure what my next YouTube Live will be. Nice to see you again. Your videos are great. Thank you so much. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this. And whenever I do another YouTube Live, and I will likely cover a new topic, so just stay tuned for the next couple of weeks when I do another one of these. And I will do my best to do these on a more ongoing basis. So thank you guys so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys later on in my future lives. Take care, you guys. We're an amazing audience. Enjoy your weekend.